Breaking news, a press conference happening right now in Santa Monica, where today there have been several deadly incidents and shootings, and I want to listen in as we're trying to find out whether these were all interrelated.
The Santa Monica College
Here's the press conference.
And the Santa Monica Police Department. There was an exchange of gunfire at that time, and the suspect attempted to evade the officers by running onto the college campus. As he ran onto the campus, additional shots were exchanged. No officers were injured at that time. The suspect headed toward the library, shot a woman on the campus just before entering the library, accosted a number of patrons inside the library, and attempted to shoot at them. Those individuals were able to find safety in a safe location inside the library. However, he continued to shoot at them. The officers came in and directly engaged the suspect, and he was shot and killed on the scene. The information we have indicates at this point that as many as half a dozen victims were shot and killed, and several more were injured. And I've recently been informed that another victim recently died at the hospital. I have to say again, this investigation is in its infancy. It occurred just a short 4 hours ago. We are still in our investigative phase. The search and securing of the college is almost complete. The search is being handled by 11 multi-jurisdictional, multidisciplinary, meaning police and fire teams that are attempting to secure the entire footprint of Santa Monica College. The suspect in this incident has yet to be identified, but he's described as being a male white, 25 to 30 years of age approximately. He was wearing all black clothing and what appears to be a ballistic vest. We have a subject of interest in custody pending our ability to affirmatively connect that subject to evidence that was found on the scene. So what that translates to is we are not convinced 100% that the suspect who was killed operated in a solo or alone capacity. At this time, we're not identifying any victims pending the ability to notify their next of kin. As a side note, I want to say that these shooting incidents occurred within close proximity to two area schools, both John Adams Middle School and Edison School. The schools were locked down for the safety of students and faculty. Parents seeking to reunite with those students are to go to the 1600 block of 16th Street to the Santa Monica Unified School District's administrative offices. I say that although at this point we know that the schools have been released, but in case anyone did not hear, that's where they were to go. I'm now going to turn over the microphone to Santa Monica City College Police Chief Albert Vasquez.
Sorry, Chief, can you just tell us how many incidents total today?
That's still we're still investigating that. When we look at it, it is a series of consecutive incidents. So it's fair to say it's more than one, it's as many as 6, but we also know that other people may be coming forward. But let me turn it over to Chief Vasquez, and then I will give you a few minutes and take a few questions after all three, both Chief Vasquez and Chief Ferguson, have had an opportunity to provide their statements.
My name is Al Vasquez, and I'm the Santa Monica College Police Chief. As Chief Seabrooks has just mentioned, this is an active and ongoing investigation. This is not a school shooting and began off campus. We also want to make, on behalf of the Santa Monica College, our condolences known for the victims of this terrible tragedy. Our police officers were hearing the incidents off campus, but the situation seemed to be flowing and moving toward the college. They heard a shots fired near the campus and responded to the area of parking lot 1, which is on the east side of the college. They saw who they perceived to be a suspect running through the liberal arts building toward the library. Our officers were joined by Santa Monica City police officers, and they engaged the suspect as he entered the library. They were able to engage the suspect inside the library, where he was fatally wounded. There was an additional victim on the campus who was transported to the hospital. The college has been cleared of any additional suspect. We're about 90% certain, and all classes were canceled for the day. The college will be setting up a special hotline for any of our students seeking counseling assistance during this tragic incident. And we are also going to be staffing our psychological services office to assist any of our students. We anticipate both a phone number and the psych services offices to be operational soon. Of course, we still have to clear the campus. Once again, on behalf of Santa Monica College, we are sending our condolences to the victims of this tragic event and want to reassure our campus community that this began off campus and it was unfortunate that the suspect chose SMC to continue his crimes. Finally, thank you to the wonderful allied agencies' response to Santa Monica College to assist us. Now I'd like to turn it over to Scott Ferguson, the fire chief.
Was it a Santa Monica police officer who shot and killed him? Santa Monica College police officer.
That's under investigation.
Did your officers exchange fire with the suspect?
Yes, they did.
You said 6 people were shot and killed. Was that on campus?
If we can finish the press conference quick with the fire chief, then we will open it up for a few questions, please. Thank you.
Quickly, my name is Scott Ferguson. I am the Santa Monica Fire Department fire chief. Like our brothers and sisters in law enforcement, we want to offer our condolences as well. This is what we know. At 11:52 this morning, the Santa Monica Fire Department responded to the report of a structure fire. Prior to arriving, we had noticed from our police department partners that there were shots fired, and we staged appropriately. Within 5 minutes, our units were called in and encountered a well-involved residential structure fire. The address is at 2036 Yorkshire. With 3 engines, 1 truck, and a battalion chief, we quickly extinguished the fire. While conducting a primary search, we found multiple victims. It was clear that they were fatalities, and as such, in order to preserve the crime scene, our firefighters mitigated the fire and backed out in order to preserve evidence. There were multiple victims. They were treated by both Santa Monica Fire Department paramedics as well as our partners in Culver City, Beverly Hills, and Los Angeles. 3 went to Ronald Reagan UCLA Hospital in critical condition, and as has been reported, 1 has since expired. 3 victims were also with minor injuries sent to Santa Monica Hospital. As part of a unified command structure, our fire department continues to work closely with our law enforcement partners. Our fire paramedics were part of the initial sweep of the college campus. That's all we have at this point.
Were they shot in the house then, Chief?
I can't report that because it's under investigation.
Scott, there was 2 bodies in the house, though, Scott. 2 bodies?
How many did?
Okay, thank you very much. What we're going to do is we're going to answer a few questions. I understand you have 100 of them, but just bear with us, ask them one at a time. We're only going to take a few to try and get what you need, and then we will be coming back in a couple of hours, okay?
If you have something in Spanish, will be appreciated for the Spanish media, please. Thank you so much.
Who were shot and killed? So were they on campus? Can you clarify that?
I'm sorry, could you repeat the question, please?
Clarify the 6 people who you said were shot and killed. Was that total on campus? Just please clarify that.
No, that was not on campus. That was in a series of circumstances moving through the community and culminated with the shooting on the campus.
So 6 people.
But 6 are killed?
Dead.
As many as.
Any of them on campus other than the suspect?
1 woman was shot on campus.
And she's pronounced dead?
No, we don't have that information just yet.
That 6 would include the person we believe to be the suspect?
No, that would not.
Would not.
So 6 dead plus the suspect.
As many as, yes.
Can you clarify the person who was detained? What's his involvement in this?
That's what the investigation is going to tell us. We don't know just yet the extent of the involvement, if in fact there is any, with respect to this person. And that's why he's being detained, so that we can obtain that information. And once we have it, we'll know what appropriate course of action is.
So, Chief, how many people injured, how many dead at this hour?
At this hour, it appears at least a half dozen are dead, and as many as 2 or 3 are injured. Information is still coming in as this is unfolding, and we're still fairly early in this.
Are we sure there's nobody else in the school, but are you concerned about bombs?
I'm sorry, I can only take one question at a time.
How many in the house? How certain are you that things are safe now? You're saying 90%, but are you sure that there's nobody else out there, or are you searching for bombs, any other devices at this point?
We are doing a very thorough search of the school footprint, and as it stands, 90% of the school footprint has been searched and cleared.
Chief,
so at this particular stage, I can't give an assurance because we still have a balance that's left and as yet unsearched.
There's been photographs from the air of a man in black laying dead on the sidewalk. Now, you said the suspect was killed in the library, though? Is this the same man? Or?
Let me say this. The subject was shot in the library, and then because it was still an active shooter circumstance and we had to remove the suspect from the line of fire, that subject who actually fired at the officers, so he is a suspect, but to move him, and unfortunately he's fired at the scene where that body is, that's being shown in the aerial photographs.
So we have 7 deceased, 6 plus the suspect.
As far as I'm aware, yes, ma'am.
In the series of events.
Yes.
Can you discuss motive at this time?
No, I cannot.
Any indication this is related to terrorism?
No, I wouldn't make that connection at all.
Related to Obama's visit?
Can you tell us, okay, the 6 people that died, where were they in the series of events?
We know that there are deceased individuals in the 2000 block of Yorkshire.
How many are there?
That I can't confirm just yet because it's still evolving. There's, as for sure, we know at least 2. We know that there is someone who was shot and killed, I believe, at Cloverfield and Pico. 2 people at 19 and Pearl. The suspect at the college, and I believe that one person died at the hospital.
But you say as many, so this number could grow, as many as 6, possibly more?
Well, the condition of those who are in the hospital in critical condition could change, and as has happened very recently, that number could change. Yes.
Were these random shootings? I mean, these random victims, I mean?
It appears that those who were encountered on the street were random victims. Those who were identified, located at the, or no, excuse me, not identified, but located on Yorkshire, we're not quite certain that it's random, but it appears that it may not be. But the investigation will tell us that as we proceed.
We saw another suspect of Asian origin going in a patrol from Santa Monica police. Seems that he was arrested getting out from college. Can you tell us why he was arrested?
All I can tell you is that that is a person of interest, and it was appropriate for us to detain him pending our ability to affirmatively link him with evidence that we may have found on the scene.
Was President Obama informed? Do we have any reaction from the president, as far as you know? Because he was so close
I
to
wouldn't
him.
know that, ma'am.
Those suspects, you have not identified the suspect yet, but are you moving toward that? What is holding up identification?
Of course, we're moving toward that. The circumstance is the police department does not identify persons who are killed in such circumstances. We allow the coroner's office to affirmatively identify that person.
We appreciate something in Spanish, if you were so kind. Chief,
we have to, ma'am, we have to find someone who will be on hand to do the Spanish translations. That should be coming forth, and we'll make it a point to reach out to you.
Was the original structure, Chief, a house or an apartment?
It was a residence.
Is your in custody suspect? 1 or 2?
We have 1 person of interest in custody at this point.
Chief, you have never seen this in Santa Monica?
No, I've not.
Were all these people shot who died?
As far as I know, yes.
Is your department dealing with a barricaded
It's the last question, too.
now linked to this?
Not linked to this that I'm aware of, no.
The person of interest is also armed?
That I don't know.
Were the people in the house shot?
That I don't know.
We're going to end the press conference right now. We'll try and have an update within about 2 hours or before. If not, it'll be before the 8 o'clock news hour, okay? Thank you very much, and we will be back out. And for the Spanish community, we will...
All right, so you've just been listening to into the press conference there. You heard from the chief of police at the Santa Monica College, the fire chief, and, of course, the chief of the Santa Monica Police, Chief Jacqueline Seabrooks, the woman there. You heard listening to some questions. Our Miguel Marquez is going to be with us for a moment, but we did learn some significant new information here in this press conference. We learned that at least 6 people have been confirmed as dead because of the attack, which in some cases could have been fire, in some cases shooting, was unclear. And when you count the suspect who was also killed, at least 7. She used the words at least 7 people died today, 6 of them murdered by the suspect. There is, in addition, we learned from that press conference, another person of interest who is currently in custody at this time, but we weren't able to get much more information about that. The other thing that we were able to learn, you all know, of course, that there was a house that was burned down with people inside of it. Then there were subsequent incidents and shootings that happened, including one on the street and one at the Santa Monica College campus. But what she's saying is that there were more than 1 incident, but as many as 6. So obviously a lot more questions to be answered here tonight. I want to bring in Miguel Marquez. Miguel, we did find out here, of course, as many as 6 were murdered today, and the shooter also bringing the total to 7. But a lot of questions here, including which of these incidents were random, which were planned, and exactly who the shooter is.
Well, this started off with one incident. It then grew to maybe 2 and then 3. And now it sounds like we had at least 4 incidents across the city tonight. And actually, listening to the chief, she spoke very quickly, but it was as many as 6 incidents. 6 people killed at 4 different locations across Santa Monica today. The house fire clearly now implicated in this. 2 people, we understand, were shot and killed in that fire. Then the bus, and then another incident where somebody was shot and killed on a street in Santa Monica.